Hey everyone, we are back. It has been a couple of weeks since we actually last uploaded a YouTube video, mainly because we have been ridiculously busy with real life fairs, with a lot of wholesale orders coming in all in one go, and just with the general day-to-day running of the business. We have still got more fairs that are coming up, but things will hopefully get a little bit calmer and a little bit more on track now. But what I want to do today is actually show you the main reason that we have been away for a couple of weeks, and that is the two large fairs that we have done in the last couple of weeks. Out of the last 2 weeks, so the last 14 days, we have actually been either away trading at fairs or setting up and breaking down for those fairs for 9 out of the last 14 days. So it has been incredibly hectic. And the two fairs that we have actually just finished trading at couldn't really more perfectly demonstrate the huge differences you can get when selling at fairs. The kind of extremes of fantastic down to terrible, right down to things like the weather. So what I'm actually going to do is show you some footage that I took from both of those fairs. And then after I have shown you that footage, I'm actually going to talk through things like the stall costs, how much money we took, and how much profit we made. And I'm just kind of hoping that that is going to inspire those of you who are just getting started, perhaps in businesses similar to ours, you know, kind of handmade craft businesses, and just want to kind of get an idea of what it is like being out trading at events. And perhaps if you have only done one or two events and they haven't gone as well as you had hoped, hopefully this will kind of motivate you to not give up and to show you that events are very, very different. Every event is different. Some will be fantastic, some will be rubbish, but the fantastic ones really do make up for the rubbish ones, or at least I think they do anyway. So what I'm going to do now is show you the footage from the first event we attended. That was Hyde Hall in Essex, and that was the 24th to the 28th of June. So I'm going to show you the footage for that event first. Here it is. It is the 24th of June. We are at Hyde Hall. I've got no clue what the time is, probably about 10:30. We are getting ready for the first of 4 days at the Hyde Hall craft event. 3 big white marquees filled with lots of lovely stuff. Here's hoping we have a good 4 days. All set up and ready for day 2 at Hyde Hall. We had a phenomenal day yesterday. Really exceeded expectations, so much so that we've actually brought with us today our limited edition soaps, which we don't normally bring with us because we don't normally have space, but we had a bit of extra space here today, and we sold out of a few things yesterday, so we've just added these in to try and ensure we still have a good selection of things to sell today. If today goes as well as it did yesterday, it's all going to be good. So it's the start of day 3 and we are heading to work, which for today is just over there. In those tents. And you couldn't really ask for a much more beautiful, idyllic walk to work than what we have got here, with the wildflowers and the birds and the sun shining. Coupled with the fact that yesterday was even better than the day before. It's all going well. We are well into the profit zone already, which is fantastic, with 2 full days left to trade. Yay! So we are back at home now after day 4, all done with the fair now. We've had a fantastic 4 days. Yesterday was really brilliant, best day yet. And today was good, not as good as the other 3 days, but still really good. Home now, pretty tired, gonna chill out, but very happy too. Now we could just leave you with that footage and leave you guys all thinking that our life is always like that we spend our time travelling around the country in beautiful weather, selling at shows and making loads of money every single time. And I imagine there are some people with certain social media profiles that do kind of edit their lives like that to make it look kind of perfect, but we are more about being real. So we are now going to show you footage from our second event, which was the 1st to the 4th of of July, the Wilden Midsummer Fair down in Kent. And as you will see, it was just ever so slightly different to the Hyde Hall event. So we've had 3 days rest, except it wasn't rest because we had to make loads of stuff that was out of stock, and now we are here at the Wilden Midsummer Fair. 2 metre pitch, so we have had a bit of a rejig of how everything is going and set up, but this is our stand. And it is 4 days here now, so looking forward to seeing how it goes, because this is our most expensive fair of the year, so time will tell how it goes. So day 2 of the Wilden Fair, and Wayne is going to take you on a little walk around the stalls because I'm still too nervous to wander around filming stuff because I always feel like people are watching me. So Wayne is taking you on a walk around whilst I tell you about how our day went yesterday. To be honest, it wasn't good. We made a bit of money, but not nearly enough to kind of justify the cost of this fair, and it's a complete world apart from the Hyde Hall last week. We did sell some things, we did make some money, but I have already worked out that if we take the same kind of level of money over the next 3 days as we did yesterday, then we're going to walk away from this fair with probably approximately £100 profit for the entire 4-day event, and that is going to need to be split between both of us, so that would be £50 each, which equates to £12.50 per day, and that's just for the 4 days we're trading. It doesn't take into account all of the work that we've put in and everything like that in the run up to the fair. So it doesn't look like this fair is going to be a worthwhile one for us. I think it is just the wrong customer base. It's a bit of a shame. Hopefully we will hit the profit zone, but that will not be, by my calculation, until midway on day 4. So it's going to be a little bit touch and go as to whether we even make profit at this fair, or if it does end up being a loss, which would be even worse. And it's always kind of really soul destroying when you put your heart and soul into something and you walk away with a loss. It can't be helped, and it does happen, but it's not nice when it happens. So we are going to continue to sell. The weather was nice yesterday, that is the one thing we had going for us, and it looks like it's going to be nice today as well. However, Saturday and Sunday the forecast is not so good, so that could actually end up making things even a little bit worse for us. So we're just going to have to kind of stick it out, hope for the best, prepare for the worst and all that, and cross our fingers, yeah, and hope and see what the next 3 days bring for us. We're into day 3 at the Wilden Midsummer Fair, and it is raining. The last 2 days haven't been great, and I'm not sure how the rain is going to affect sales today either, so we'll find out, won't we? But yeah, pretty wet right now. Not forecast to get any better either. So 9 AM on the 4th day of the fair, and we are packing up to go home because apparently it's rained too much and it's too muddy. So we will definitely have made a loss at this fair. We're going to squelch our way home now and probably console ourselves with, I don't know, McDonald's breakfast?
And cider. There you go.
So I think that kind of demonstrates really how very different fairs can be. The first event was fantastic, we sold out so many items, the weather was beautiful, and we couldn't have asked for a better fair. And I think, looking at my records, it was possibly the best event we have ever traded at. Contrast that to the Wilden event, where the weather was so bad that the show actually got cancelled for the final day. The footfall was lower, and it just didn't work for us, and it was one of our worst events ever because we actually came away from it making a loss, and I could count on one hand the amount of times we have come away from a fair and not made any profit whatsoever. So yeah, contrasting of a brilliant fair and a terrible fair. And you know, it's not what we were doing. It's very hard when this happens because you kind of question yourself and you question your products. But the thing is, we were selling the same products at both events. You know, the stuff we sold out of at Hyde Hall, we spent all week remaking, bar the soaps because obviously they had to cure, but we still had plenty of soaps in stock. So we remade sugar scrubs, we remade bath bombs, we remade body butters, and we were fully stocked for Wilden. But, you know, the fish just weren't biting, as they say, and we just weren't selling. But we were selling the same products. We were still in a nice location. Our table setup was very similar. It was slightly different at Wilden because we had less space, but we still managed to have everything out on display on the table. We were still talking to customers. We were still interacting. We didn't change anything. All that changed was the location, the weather, and the kind of footfall. And the stall cost was slightly different too, but not enough to make such a difference in impact of what we actually took. So I'm going to run through the actual figures now. We don't generally talk a huge amount about how much we actually earn or how much we make at fairs, but I just thought because these two fairs were so different, it really would help for us to just actually chat through what we made at these fairs, so you guys can really understand the huge difference that we have just experienced in the last 2 weeks. So the Hyde Hall Fair actually cost us £462.76 to trade at, and that is the cost of the pitch, it is the cost of the fuel getting to the pitch, and in this case it is also the cost of the Dartford toll crossing for 4 days because we had to go across the Thames to this fair. So £462.76. When we contrast that with the Wilden Times Fair, the Wilden Times Fair was a lot closer to us, but it was a lot more expensive too. So it actually cost us £693.11 to trade at the Wilden Times Fair, including the fuel and the pitch fee. So about £230 more expensive. However, when it comes to sales, at the Hyde Hall event, we turned over in those 4 days £2,072. I don't know how we did that. I really don't know how we did that, but I'm very glad we did. Possibly the most we've ever taken. Really, really pleased with that. We contrast that to the Wilden Times Fair, which was obviously cancelled for day 4, so this is only 3 days worth of turnover, but we took £771. That's not enough for a fair that costs £693.11 to trade at, not by a long way. We would needed to have at least doubled that to make it anywhere close being worthwhile for us. When it comes down to profit, so we're taking off the cost of the pitch, the cost of the fuel, the cost of the Dartford crossing, and the cost of actually making those products that we have sold, the grand total of the profit for the Hyde Hall event was £1,144.35, which is utterly amazing. Like, without a doubt, one of the best fairs ever. We don't often come away from fairs with over £1,000 profit. That is a very rare occurrence. But it happened, which is brilliant. However, now we contrast that to Wilden Times, where our profit was, are you ready for it? Minus £101.30, which means we worked those 5 days, because it was the setup day, 3 days trading. We turned up for day 4, which was then cancelled, but we were still there. 5 days out of the house working at this fair for minus £101.30. Yeah, I don't need to say much more about that, do I? It just shows, you know, 1 week we had a phenomenal fair, the next week we had a hideous fair, and it happens to everybody. If you, like I said a little bit earlier, if you have only done a couple of fairs and they haven't gone too well, do not give up. I hope this motivates you to carry on and realise that fairs are always different. You could have a brilliant day, you could have a terrible day. And likewise, if you've only done a couple of fairs and they've been fantastic for you so far, it will not always be like that. Or if it is, you are incredibly lucky. Because I have never spoken to any other stallholder who has consistently had fantastic events. Every stallholder I've spoken to has got at least one story of an event that has gone horribly wrong and just hasn't worked out for them at all. We all have those stories, and it is just something that happens when you are trading at events. Needless to say, we will not be doing the Wilden one again. We actually did it 2 years ago and it wasn't great for us then either. And when I say it wasn't great, what I mean is we had, again, torrential rain, lots and lots of wind, and our gazebo actually broke. Like completely broke, crumpled in on itself, and we lost a gazebo. So that is twice we've done this show now, and twice it hasn't really worked out for us. And to be honest, the cost of this show is just too high for us to be able to justify taking the risk and trying it again. We like to try fairs twice. If the first one doesn't work, we will try it again. And that has worked for us in the past. We have had events, the South of England Autumn Show. The first year we did that, it wasn't especially great, but we tried it again the following year and we had a fantastic year. So if something doesn't work once, we'll try it again. If it doesn't work twice, we tend to kind of move on and find something else. So that has been our last 2 weeks. That is what we have been doing. Those are the fairs we have been trading at. And that is the kind of money that we have taken over those 2 events. So hopefully it gives you guys an idea of the kind of takings you could perhaps expect from something like this. Remember, those are the extreme ends of the table on both sides, from good down to terrible. We generally take kind of in the middle, I would say. I mean, it's not unusual for us to come away with sort of £400-500 profit from a long event. Over 1,000 is very rare, and a loss, thankfully, is also very rare. But those are our figures. Hopefully this video has been interesting and you have enjoyed seeing my face back on the screen again. We will have a video on Monday. It is going to be about clays, testing clays in soaps. Yeah, and we've got a fair this weekend down in Kent again. So hopefully this one will go better than last week's one. We shall find out, and I will probably let you know if I remember next week how it went. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Bye for now.